2 months to the day before Martin Luther King Jr. died, he gave a speech in Atlanta. This is what he said. Everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second law of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. The world says greatness is reserved for a few. God says everybody can be great. The world says if you're great, everyone will serve you. God says if you are great, you will serve everybody else. One of the greatest lessons I've learned in life is that getting outside myself is a starting point for good things to happen. When we get beyond ourselves and we start to serve other people, we start down a sure path to happiness. You can search the whole world for happiness, but it will elude you until you realize that it is only by bringing happiness to other people that we find happiness for ourselves. Serving others is the surest path to happiness in this world. It's also the surest path to discovering who you really are and what you're really here for. Serving others is at the core of the mission God has designed just for you. But it's so easy to get caught up in ourselves. It's so easy to get caught up in our plans and our selfish desires. And when we get all caught up in ourselves, it's so easy to ignore the suffering that's going on all around us. There's a story in Luke's gospel that makes me very uneasy every time I read it. It's the story of Lazarus and the rich man. And it goes like this. There was a rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen, who feasted sumptuously every day. And at his gate lay a poor man named Lazarus, covered with sores, who longed to satisfy his hunger with what fell from the rich man's table. Even the dogs would come and lick his sores. The poor man died and was carried away by the angels to be with Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried. In Hades, where he was being tormented, he looked up and saw Abraham far away with Lazarus, the poor man, by his side. He called out, "Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in the water and to cool my tongue, for I am in agony in these flames." But Abraham said, "Child, remember that during your lifetime you received your good things, and Lazarus, in like manner, evil things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in agony. Besides all this, between you and us, a great chasm has been fixed, so that those who might want to pass from here to you cannot do so, and no one can cross from there to us." This parable makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable because, like the rich man, I have nice clothes and plenty of them, and I have plenty to eat every day, and there are a lot of people suffering in this world. They might not be right on my doorstep, but they're not far away. It makes me uncomfortable because this is Jesus speaking. This is not just another story. This is a story straight from the mouth of God. And from what Jesus describes of the afterlife, I know where I want to end up. Our Christianity is constantly challenging us to assess our relationship with the poor. For a long time, I would give money to the poor. I would donate money to organizations that help the poor, or I'd give a few dollars to somebody on the street. These things are good, but they don't give us personal contact with the poor. Our relationship with the poor can become very transactional if we're not careful. And God calls us to more than that when it comes to helping the poor. And more than that, when it comes to being with the poor, our family, Catholic Church, has an incredible track record. I've spoken often about the genius of Catholicism, and here we find it expressed in one of the most beautiful and practical ways. Have you ever heard of the works of mercy? As Christians, we bring the love and mercy of God to others by performing these works. That's a thing of beauty. Think about it. You get to bring the love and mercy of God to other people. So what are these works of mercy? They're divided into two categories. The corporal works of mercy, which concern the material needs of others, and the spiritual works of mercy, which concern the spiritual needs of others. The corporal works of mercy are to feed the hungry, to give drink to the thirsty, to clothe the naked, to shelter the homeless, to visit the sick, to visit the imprisoned, and to bury the dead. The spiritual works of mercy are to instruct the ignorant, to counsel the doubtful, to correct sinners, to bear wrongs patiently, to forgive offenses willingly, to comfort the afflicted, and to pray for the living and the dead. How would the world be different if everyone practiced just one work of mercy each day? How would the world be different if these works of mercy define the way we lived our lives? There's genius in Catholicism. Seriously, there is genius in Catholicism, but sadly, it's little known and little practiced. So here's my challenge for you. Each day for the next 30 days, I want to encourage you to intentionally practice one of these works of mercy. You'd be amazed how this 30-day challenge can change you, change the way you see the world, and change your life. You're so young and your lives are before you. So I want to beg you not to waste your single years waiting for life to happen, because you're never going to have a better opportunity to serve than now while you're young and single. Too many people spend their single years trying to wish them away. Singleness, like everything else, has a purpose. It's a time to discover who you are, what you're here for, what matters most, and what matters least. Nothing will help you develop this kind of personal clarity like service to others. So get outside of yourself. Stop thinking that it's all about you. Find meaningful ways to serve other people. I'm telling you, you'll be so glad you did.